Very good morning to all of you. I welcome you once again to this current lecture. In the last lecture, we completed the first important structural effect called as the inductive effect. So in that lecture, we discuss about the different types of inductive effect and the factors which affect the magnitude of inductive effect. Now in the current lecture, we are going to start the second important structural effect, that is called as resonance effect, or it may be called as the mesomeric effect. Now what is meant by this resonance effect or this mesomeric effect? So for this purpose, we have to take the help of one important molecule in a chemistry, that is called as the benzene molecule. We know very well the benzene molecule or the benzene compound. This benzene molecule is there, a benzene compound is there. Now what is mean by this resonance effect or this mesomeric effect? So for this purpose, we are considering this benzene molecule. So we know that the worldwide accepted structure for this benzene is given by the Kekulé. The scientist Kekulé gives a proposed the structure for this benzene, and that is called as the Kekulé structure. Now according to this Kekulé, the proposed structure for benzenes are nothing but the cyclic rings of 6 carbon atoms containing alternate single and double bonds. This is the first possible structure for this benzene. The second possible structure is there, again cyclic ring of 6 carbon atoms with alternate single and double bonds, and the third structure is there, which we can draw like this, again 6 carbon atoms and this type of the ring is there. Now these are the three possible structures for this benzene. First, this is second, and this is a third structure for this benzene given by the Kekulé. Now the question arises, which is the correct structure for this benzene? Now what happens in a first structure and second structure? If we observe closely, no doubt 6 carbon atoms are present, both are cyclic compounds, only they get differ in the position of this particular single and double bonds. They get differ in the position of single and double bonds. So what happens if we say that if these are the two different structures for benzene, it may have the two different bond lengths. We know that the bond length for carbon-carbon single bond, it is equal to the 1.54 Armstrong unit, while the bond length for carbon double bond carbon is equal to the magnitude of 1.34 Armstrong unit. So this is our regular bond length for carbon-carbon single bond and carbon-carbon double bond. So we may expect that these two structures may have these two types of the bond lengths for single bond and carbon-carbon double bond. But what happens? The study of X-ray crystallographic measurements, if X-ray crystallographic measurements, X-ray crystallographic study of this benzene, X-ray crystallographic study of this benzene, if we take into consideration, then what happens? This study gives us an important postulate that the bond length for this benzene compound is equal to 1.39 Armstrong unit. This one type of bond length can be shown by this benzene molecule, and that is equal to the 1.39 Armstrong unit. That's why we can say that all carbon-carbon bond lengths, all carbon-carbon bond lengths bond lengths in benzene are equal. All carbon-carbon bond lengths in benzene are equal. So why we can say this? Because if we take into consideration these X-ray crystallographic measurements, according to that only one type of the bond length is given by this particular study, and that's why we can say that all the carbon-carbon bond lengths in benzene are equal. So we consider here the structure, different possible structures for this benzene. So we can say that whether the structure first is correct, whether the structure second is correct. For this purpose, we take into consideration difference between structure first and second. What is the difference between structure first and second? This is only in terms of the position of single and double bonds. So if we can say that if single bond is there, its bond length must be equal to 1.54 Armstrong unit. If it is carbon-carbon double bond, its bond length must be equal to the 1.34 Armstrong unit. So we can expect that these two compounds may get differ on the basis of these particular values, or this compound shows the two different bond lengths. But what happens? According to this study, only one type of the bond length is present in a given benzene molecule, and that's why you can say that our assumption that it must have the presence of these two different bond lengths is wrong, while we can say that all carbon-carbon bond lengths in the benzene are equal. Then the question arises, which is the correct structure for benzene, whether the first structure, second structure, or the third structure is correct. Now for this purpose, what we have to take into consideration now, we can say that no structure, either this first or second structure, is correct. Why? Because in both these structures the position of single and double bond get changed, while if we take into consideration this assumption by crystallographic, it has only one bond length. That's why we can say that these double bonds having the pi electrons, they are called as the delocalized. They are called as the delocalized. They are the delocalized pi electron. Delocalized pi electron, and therefore what happens? These electrons continuously changes their position in between the any two carbon atoms, and that's why these particular double bond get shifted their positions, and that's why we can say that this structure first or second is not a correct structure for benzene, but instead the structure number third is called as a correct structure for benzene, because these pi electrons are continuously get delocalized from one carbon to the another carbon, and that's why these pair of double bond we cannot predict that it must be present at so and so carbon atoms, but it get continuously delocalized. So structure first and second is not the correct structure for this benzene, but rather the more correct structure for this benzene, which consists of all the features of this benzene, is nothing but the structure number 3, and that's why you can say that these structures first and second, structure first and second, whatever structure first and second, they are called as the hybrid structure. Sorry, this structure first and second are nothing but are not the correct structure. Instead, structure third is there. Structure third. So these are the two different types of the structures. Structure first and second are not the correct structure. Not the correct structure of benzene. Not the correct structure for benzene, but the correct structure for benzene is nothing but the structure number 3rd, and that's why it is called as the hybrid structure. This is called as the hybrid structure. Why this is a hybrid? Because this structure has the properties both that are present in the structure first and second. Both these features can be present in this third structure. So this is called as the hybrid structure for this benzene, and this phenomena is called as the resonance phenomena. This phenomena is called as the resonance phenomena. Then the question arises, what is mean by the resonance? What is mean by the resonance? So we can say that what is my resonance? Resonance is nothing but a phenomena. It is a phenomena. It is a phenomena in which a molecule is represented. A phenomena in which a molecule is represented. Molecule is represented by number of interconvertible structures. Number of convertible structures. So this is a phenomena in which a molecule is represented by number of interconvertible structures. None of these structures are correct. None of these structures are correct. None of these structures are correct. But the correct structure is a hybrid structure. Correct structure is the hybrid structure. So this is a definition for this particular resonance effect. Means it is a phenomena in which a molecule is represented by number of interconvertible structures. Number of interconvertible structures. None of these structures are correct, but the correct structure is called as the hybrid structure. So we can say that this benzene compound has the molecular formula C6H6. It has this type of the three possible structures, structure first and second. So these structures are interconvertible. We may convert these structures into second or second into the first. So these are the interconvertible structures. None of these structures are correct. Structure first and second is not the correct structure. On the other hand, structure number 3 is called as the correct structure of benzene, and it is called as the hybrid structure. This structure is called as the hybrid structure for this benzene. So we can say that the two structures of this benzene. What are these two structures of benzene? Structure first. This structure first. This structure second. This second possible structure. Just to change the position of this particular double bond. These two structures are called as the resonance forms. These two structures are called as the resonance forms, or it may be called as canonical forms. It may be called as the canonical forms, while the third structure, it is combination of these two structures. It is called as the resonance hybrid. It is called as resonance hybrid. So these type of the structures are there for benzene. The first two structures are called as the resonance forms or canonical forms, and the third structure is called as the resonance hybrid, and the correct structure for this benzene is called as the resonance hybrid, while these are not the correct structure for this benzene. So this phenomena is called as the resonance effect, or it may be called as the mesomeric effect. So for this resonance effect, we take into consideration the Kekulé structure for this benzene. For this benzene, these three type of the possible structures are there. So the question is, which structure is the correct? For this purpose, we take into consideration the different bond length values as well as the X-ray crystallographic study or measurements. From these measurements, we can say that only one of the bond length is observed for this benzene, and that's why all carbon-carbon bond lengths in benzene are equal. then the pi electrons present in this benzene are called as the delocalized pi electrons, and that's why the correct structure of a benzene is not the first or second, but it is the third number structure. So this phenomena is nothing but the resonance phenomena, or it is a resonance effect. Now the next part we have to study here is nothing but what are the important features of this effect. Features of resonance effect. The second point we have to take into consideration now. Features of resonance effect. Features of resonance effect. What are the features of this resonance effect? So the first important feature of this resonance effect is that this resonance effect is operative. It is operative. This effect is operative through the delocalization of pi electrons, through delocalization of pi electrons, or it may be the non-bonding electrons. It may be the non-bonding electrons. So these two type of the electrons can be involved in this particular resonance effect. It may be called as the pi electrons, or it may be called as the non-bonding electrons. So this is the first important feature of this particular resonance effect. The second important feature is that resonance forms are hypothetical. Resonance forms are hypothetical. Resonance forms are nothing but the hypothetical. So we cannot separate these particular resonance forms practically, but this is a hypothetical concept. But we can say that all these resonance forms exist in a resonance hybrid. All resonance forms exist as resonance hybrid. All resonance forms exist as a resonance hybrid. This is the second important feature. As far as the third important feature is concerned, we can say that this effect is possible. It is possible due to delocalization of electrons. Delocalization of this electrons is there. Delocalization of electrons. Unless and until delocalization of electron is there, then and then only this effect is possible. The next important feature of this is nothing but as number of resonance form increases, number of resonance forms increases, for a molecule. Number of resonance form increases for a molecule. Its stability increases. So these are the important four features for this resonance effect. The first is it is operative through the delocalization of pi electrons or non-bonding electrons. It is a medium through which this particular effect is operative. The second important feature is that resonance forms are hypothetical. All the resonance forms for molecules are hypothetical, but all these resonance forms exist as a resonance hybrid. The third important feature is that it is possible due to the delocalization of electrons. If delocalization of electron is there, then and then only this effect is possible. And the last important feature is that number of resonance forms increases for a molecule, its stability going on increasing. So it is a direct relationship between stability of molecule to that of the number of resonance forms. So in today's this current lecture, we consider the second structural effect called as the resonance effect, in which we discuss about what is by this resonance effect, the correct structure for benzene, what is the correct structure for this benzene is there, what is meant by hybrid structure, what is in by resonance forms or canonical forms, and the last point which we just completed is nothing but the different features of a resonance effect. So we discuss here 4 different features for these resonance effects. So with this I'll stop here. The remaining points we will take in a next lecture. Thank you so much.